Tebow time.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, that's right. It's not just Meet the Mets. It's funky 70s disco Meet the Mets. Come on, everybody. Mr. Met in a leisure suit. He had an afro at this point. He drove around in a lime green Pinto. It was a different time. It was the 70s. It was crazy. Welcome to Mets Wrap 360. I'm Christian Bladt on Twitter at ChristianDMZ. Next to me, Andrea Fasano at Andy Fasano.
Who was just totally messing with the mic, so
She was just playing with the
mic.
microphones. It's all right. And next to her, Melissa Weinstein at Melissa Wine. Let's enjoy a few more seconds of 70s Meet the Mets.
Love it.
Listen to that. Little wah-wah pedal. Come on. Yeah!
Yes,
Thank you,
nice.
Zach. In the booth, at that Zach Wilson. Thank you for really making it. I think this is going to be every week. We're going to use this one now. Because I love this one. We could choreograph dances to it.
I mean, I feel like we should switch it up because that other one does have just such like a...
But I love that. It's so much
know.
fun. It's high energy. You know, let's see how the next few weeks play out. Let's see how fun it's going to be.
Right.
But you know what? Hey, it's been fun. What a great week we've had.
Yes.
It's really the first time since we've started doing the show, Andrea can attest to this, since I can say it was a great week. We had a couple of good weeks, but we had mostly average 500 weeks. An occasional one above,
Right.
the few below, and then a couple of real stinkers, 2-4 records, and that was...
Most of the weeks that I've been here.
Yeah, I may have. Yeah, exactly. I may have hit the panic button in those weeks, but only the New York Mets could win 6 straight games, go 15-5 in their 20 games before that, and end up with a half-game lead over the St. Louis Cardinals for the second wild card. Only the Mets could do that, and then somehow manage to do something that overshadows all of it. Tim Tebow. So they signed Tim Tebow, and look, I think it's a very low-risk, high-reward thing to do. Look, he's going to be, in the instructional league. Tim Tebow is going to, I'm sure, get an invite to spring training. He will be in the minor leagues if he's lucky, but just having him in spring training, if you think about it, there's going to be another World Baseball Classic this year. So you're already going to get some of the big-name players are going to be away from spring training. You know who's not going to be away from spring training? Tim Tebow. I don't know how many seats you can sell at that stadium in Port St. Lucie that I think is now currently called Digital Domain Park, but it had a different name at one point. It was like Tradition Field, which is a great name, Tradition Field. But now it's Digital Domain Park. You can sell it out with Tim Tebow. And, you might just promote him to single A just for the sake of attendance. Yeah. You disagree, Melissa?
Tickets.
Well, I just wanted Anthony Giacomo. Dude
Yes.
is like, he could win the lottery. He retweeted his own tweet from December 11th, 2011.
Yeah.
Did you see this?
No.
It said, I've said it once, I'll say it again. I really do think the Mets could win with this Tebow kid.
Stop.
December 2011.
Right. Well, look.
Stop
Here's the thing. If he's good, why not? He's fast. They've already established that, and he wants to be an outfielder. I mean, throwing was never really his thing. That's a problem. But he can run. If he can run down a ball and catch it, great.
Well, and
we'll
I've
see.
seen him, some video of him hitting, and he's crushing it.
Look, if you can convert pitchers like Rick Ankiel into actual position players, why can't you just take a quarterback? And, it's not like he's never played baseball in his life. He just focused on football.
Well,
and I
11
think,
years.
Yeah.
I think it's, like, usually sometimes with these things, you're like, okay, it's such a stunt, like a PR stunt, but he's such a dedicated person.
Yeah.
We all know. And for him to be a player, I feel like I see him applying that in his own life, to anything he does. So I see him being a really dedicated baseball player, and I don't think he would do this if he wasn't dedicated to be involved and good at it.
Right. And look.
And I'm kind of excited the Mets have him because it's a lot of noise and it's a lot of fun, but there'll
be a lot of questions in that in spring training, but you know what? That's good. And here's the thing. Look, if all goes well, he and Nimmo can start like a little Bible study.
Right.
They can, it'll be great. I think having them on the team together will be great. And I don't know, what does everybody else think? Give us a tweet at ABTV Mets. And of course, don't forget to subscribe on iTunes. You can also rate and comment and all that stuff. That always helps us. And if you're on YouTube, comment there too. If you're there right now, comment. I know that Melissa's not there commenting because she's here.
But I was having a great time talking to myself.
Are your parents watching?
Nope.
Oh.
They will later. They are. Mom and Dad are out to dinner.
Remember that the last time you were out to dinner, what did they ask you? If you knew, do you remember? This is so sweet. I love your parents for this reason. Go ahead.
Before they left for dinner, before we came on the show, they called to ask how they could tape the show so they could watch it when they got home.
Isn't that so sweet?
Oh
They
my
wanted
God,
to
I
tape
love
YouTube.
them.
Yeah.
They wanted to tape you
Yeah.
too.
But I explained it. It's all good. They still watched it when they got home.
Yes, but that's okay. My parents have problems with that sometimes too. Like I have to spell it out. They get it a little more than that, but
It's true. No.
you know, it's like
they're
here's
gonna watch
the
this later.
link. Like they can't search for it. I think she meaning my mother. I think she's just being lazy.
Well,
but
yeah.
she gets it. But that's really cute. And you should tell them you can also go back and forth if they miss anything.
To be fair, my mom, understands the internet to some extent, but the other show I do for AfterBuzz, Trump versus Hillary, Tuesday nights at 7 Pacific. Thank you. She would need me to send her a link to the individual episode each week,
Right.
because she didn't know how to find it.
No,
and I'm like, okay, that's fine. It's just I'll send it. It's easier. But anyway, we're not here talking about old people on YouTube.
But we love them.
We do. We love it. We're talking about an amazing 6-1 week for these New York Mets. Should have been 7-0, but you know what? Can't complain too much. But
Christian
because we're Mets
practically
fans,
called
we will.
it.
really.
I did, but remind the listeners, and viewers, of course. We don't just have
we were
listeners.
talking about the week ahead, and
Yeah.
Christian said, what are you thinking for the Cincinnati series? And I said, I'd be happy if they took 2 of 3, but, obviously I'd love if they swept it. And Christian said, you mean a 6-game sweep of both series? And I said, yeah, that's what I meant.
Right,
I didn't.
except...
Of course you did. Right.
So they did lose last night in Atlanta, but because we did that show before the Sunday night game. By the way, we're good luck when they have a Sunday night game. When we're doing our show during a Sunday night game, they win. So there's no more the rest of the season. But you're welcome, Mets fans.
Yeah.
We did that for you. So let's talk about these games because for once, I'm excited to talk about all these games. Even the one that's not a great game, there's still plenty to talk about.
Yeah.
So let's go to the Wayback Machine. Way back to Sunday. That was a 5-1 win by Seth Lugo. And we had home runs from Granderson. Jay Bruce hit a home run. Who knew?
And he broke the single season at-home record for the Mets. In 2006, they had 96 home runs.
Right.
And Jay Bruce's 2-run homer in the 6th was the 97th home run of the year.
That's
Now,
awesome.
as we talked about last week, winning that game is in no small part due to the fact that Dusty Baker decided not to, start his ace. He was just like, you know what, Scherzer, we'll give him another day of rest. Because they don't match up well with Scherzer.
Are we seeing him this week, by the way?
It's a good question. I'll see if I can do some research and find out the pitching matchup. When we look to the week ahead, we'll see what has been announced. There's a lot of TBD on those pitching matchups. I think the only thing that I know is that Syndergaard's pitching the Tuesday game. And I think beyond that, we
because the
don't
7
know.
line is their Wednesday.
Right. Well, there you go. So,
7-9
I love
plug.
that you're all over
Again.
that.
Well, I bought my parents tickets and they're going.
oh, that's great.
That's so sweet.
That's fantastic. They're gonna probably have a lot of fun sitting at
Yeah.
the 7 line. So look, that's great. And then you have the 3 games in Cincinnati. And, look, the Mets have been in the situation where it's early September and your season is definitely already over. But I can't say never. I really can't remember them playing as badly as the Cincinnati Reds played in those games. I mean, look, I'm not trying to make fun of them, but they looked awful. Now, they didn't pitch well. There's nothing you can do about that. But just the defense was bad. Just some real boneheaded base running. I don't know. When you watch a team like the Cincinnati Reds, Melissa, I feel like I know the answer. You feel bad for them, don't you?
No.
You didn't. Oh, I love that
I
answer.
didn't feel bad for them either.
Good.
And
but I
Look
know
at how
but you're
we were
such
playing against the Braves in
Yeah.
the beginning of the year.
And you know what? I think maybe it has to do with time of year.
Yeah.
Maybe I would feel bad
if
for
it was
them
like
in
April, yeah.
But at this point in the playoff hunt, I don't really
You
care.
need all those wins.
Yeah.
All right,
Totally.
good. See, I didn't feel bad for them either. I kind of
We
enjoyed it.
agree.
So Monday, a 5-0 win. Bartolo Colon. Home runs
Colon.
from Reynolds and Andrea's boyfriend, Kelly Johnson.
Yo, he was huge this week.
Yeah, he had a great week. You know what? He's had a lot of great weeks strung together. And might be getting a lot of extra playing time in the weeks ahead.
Good,
We'll talk
he
about that in
deserves
a little
it.
bit. And then Tuesday, they scored. Tuesday they scored 5 runs again. A win for Smoker. Why not? You know?
Because he has so much emotion
Yeah.
on his face.
And what did you get there? You got a home run from Granderson. Jose Reyes. That's right. For those watching on YouTube, the Cabarreyes is here. Remains unopened. He did not have a good series against the Braves. But if we were doing the show on Thursday, maybe we would have opened it.
Wait,
we'll
what
see.
have we clarified
No,
what is going to
it's a
make
gut
this?
feeling.
Okay,
It's a
okay.
gut feeling. Yeah.
It's like an overall love for
Yeah.
Reyes.
By the way, my dad asked me in a phone call or something why we don't have wine from Seaver's Winery Vineyard.
That's a great question. Because I already have them.
Exactly.
that's-
And I
That
would
was
have
my
to buy
answer.
that. Yeah. Maybe next season
Tell
we'll
Dad
get
to
something
send
from.
us some.
Yeah, Dad.
Send a crate, care of AfterBuzz TV.
You have my address.
Yeah, tell your dad to email it to us, just because he doesn't seem to understand.
He's gonna
how this is.
watch this. That's so mean.
It's a joke. It's a joke. Come on, he can email it to us.
I love you.
What are
Dad.
your parents?
Are you gonna get in
names?
trouble now?
Oh, right.
Am I
Is your dad Harvey Weinstein?
Yes.
From... Wow.
I just wanted to shout out to them because they're so. They
No, I
seem
love
awesome.
that they watch.
I call him Llama and Faj.
Okay, done.
Oh, isn't that cute?
Llama, Mama, and Faj.
Really cute.
Because of that kid's book, Mama
No.
Llama. Oh.
It just rhymes, and I
Did you
like
see how super
llamas.
upset she got?
'Cause
We're gonna
llama.
move on. No more llama talk.
Oh my gosh.
Wednesday, Syndergaard looked a little shaky. But it was all right because they won 6-3 because they didn't want to just only score 5 runs in 3 straight games. They thought let's put another one in there. A home run from Reyes, who also scored a run. Home run from Granderson. Home run from Wilmer. An RBI double from Cespedes. And that was great. This is great. So your thoughts, Andrea, on that series against the Reds. We're not talking about whether or not we feel bad for them.
No.
But the Mets pitched well. Even shaky Syndergaard pitched well enough.
Mm-hmm.
But just talk about, so they scored, let me do the quick math. 5 plus 5 is 10. 10 plus 6. They scored 16 runs in 3 games. That's amazing.
And that's what we need more often from them, more consistently, instead of the blowouts like, say, I don't
Right.
know, today, but
Right.
which is fine, and we'll take it because we won.
But considering
and that's what we were hoping
considering
for
the way this team is built, you're basically gonna put a man on and hit a
Yes,
home run.
yeah.
That's basically all you can do. You get like one base runner and then the next guy hits a home run. That's
Right.
kind of that's what they're designed to do at this point.
Which fine, and that's great, and I mean, love hearing of all these home runs, especially from I love Granderson too. He's
I know. He's no Kelly
he had
Johnson,
4 this
but
this
yeah,
week.
yeah.
Yeah.
Come on. So
Look, he's
I
getting
love
hot.
that.
He's getting hot at
Consecutive games.
exactly the right
4
time.
in different games. So I love that, and I obviously we needed this. I'm so confused because the Mets and the Yankees, it's like they really are grasping at straws, and all of a sudden both teams came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And like we said, we were ready. You had funeral music playing for 2.
I didn't
2
just have
shows in
funeral
a
music.
row.
Melissa was here. You weren't here. I shot the season into space.
Yes,
Yeah.
I saw.
We played Amazing Grace. Montgomery Scott played it on the bagpipes, for God's sake.
I mean, so
this
what
was
do we,
serious business.
But what do you think that is overall? I mean, not just in the Red Series, but is it because of who they were playing specifically?
No, I
or-
think that they got guys back at the right time, and yeah, it's warm and the ball just
Right.
flies in Cincinnati. And look, you're starting to feel good about yourselves. You're playing a team that was not playing well, and even if they were, their pitching is very hittable, but the ball just flies out of there, especially that day game.
Yeah.
There's no keeping the ball in that park, I would say.
And
So,
we talk about camaraderie a lot, and
Yeah.
especially between the players, and just like overall attitude, and you can just see it on their faces. Like even if someone got to first, it's just like happy.
Yeah.
Like, they
And
were
look,
just like feeling themselves.
there's-
Like totally.
look, there's a lot of things you can point to, but I'm going to hold up the Cabarreyes for people watching on YouTube. The personality of the team definitely changed a lot when
Right?
they got Reyes because, first of all, he's happy to be playing baseball again. He's happy to be back with the Mets, and he's playing well. So, even though he had his stint on the DL, the team has definitely just felt better about itself. And having a guy like him, look, David Wright sometimes is there in the dugout, as he's going through his rehab, and he's there to kind of, encourage guys and stuff. But when you have a guy who is in the game, playing well, and he's also your cheerleader, it's great. And he and Asdrubal Cabrera with their dyed yellow hair,
Oh my God.
as awful as it
So
looks,
gross.
I'm like, you know what? If it's working for them, great.
Keep it. That's fine.
maybe everybody else should do it.
You're not dating them. You don't care. Or married to
How
them.
do you know? But anyway.
Because if you are, I'm a little jealous.
Right.
A little jealous.
They mentioned on the TV broadcast, they were saying that how much better Asdrubal has been hitting in the 2-hole since he came back from the DL.
Right.
And then they were saying, but he hit in the 2-hole earlier this year and he was terrible. But then they were saying, but he's hitting in the 2 spot behind Jose.
Yeah, and not behind Granderson.
And the hair. So this was a whole conversation.
Yeah.
This was a whole conversation between Gary and Keith.
I love it.
And how one of them should dye their hair, probably Keith, because Gary.
Gary can't. I mean, he could put some polish on the dome, but yeah.
She's so cute.
What about Ron? Why doesn't Ron get to dye? So
because he doesn't get to sit. Hashtag let Ron sit.
Yeah, let's Ron. By the way, how much does Keith hate that he has to work every weekend because Ron's doing TBS games?
But
now?
how many times is he going to say it? Is the question.
At least, how many more weekends are there? At least double
3, 4?
that. So like 8 more times he's going to talk about
I'm
it.
excited. We should start a counter.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's try and keep track during each broadcast. So look, it was a great series against the Reds. Day off, good. Catch your breath, And remember, we were a little worried about that Monday game was a day game. It was 1 o'clock Eastern time after having the 8 o'clock game in New York, and then they had to travel to Cincinnati. They got in at like 4 in the morning or something, and they told the story in the broadcast. And so if you're a Mets fan, I'm sure you know all about Matt Reynolds had quite an ordeal getting to Cincinnati and on the field, and he hits a home run. So sometimes a little adversity goes a long way, and they had a day off in Atlanta, and the first game in Atlanta they won 6-4. It was a win for Robles. All right, fine, throw him a win, whatever. But it was a great come from behind win. It was one of those things where I was, I wasn't down on it. I wasn't like, well, this game is over. But you're just like, all right, let's see how they do. And, Gesellman had been fine, and he gave up 4 runs. But, if you think of all the innings that he's pitched as a starter when he was not supposed to be pitching any innings as a starter, he's been great. He and Lugo both have been fantastic. Montero was okay. There's some other guys out of the pen who they thought might get to be starters. Logan Verrett today, thanks, but no thanks. But anyway, so another home run for Granderson on Friday. And he also had an RBI single. And, Kelly Johnson RBI, whatever. And at that point, they were 9 games over 500. And the last high water mark that we talked about was right before the All-Star break. They were 8 games over 500. And they even dipped under 500 not that long ago. So it's good. Everything looks good right now.
Isn't it funny that this feels so much better than the 8 before? I understand time of year, of course, but there's such a difference. Like you could have said they were like, I don't know, 2 over before, and this feels like, I don't know, like 20
like
over.
They've won 90 games.
Yeah, it's just right. It's such a funny feeling.
Yeah, and
it's funny how that happens.
It's a good feeling because you can kind of see what their path to the playoffs is, and it's not through Washington, who they're going to play, and we'll talk about. They're going to play the next 3 games. You can't drop those games because of the other things going on, but that's not what your focus is. It's not like, okay, our last chance to make the playoffs is these 3 games against the Braves. Against the Nationals. Definitely not against the Braves. So, I think it's a great feeling as a Mets fan, but you really feel like the team feels a lot better about themselves.
Yes, you can see it.
And again, I'll throw it to the people. Let us know what you think at ABTV Mets. So let's talk a little bit about last night's game. Because everything's so great, I don't want to dwell, not too much. But here's the thing. It was definitely a game that they not only could have won, it's a game they should have won. So they lost in 10 innings, 4-3. Colon pitched well enough to win. He gave up 3 runs. And in this day and age, that's fine. You can pitch 5-6 innings, give up 3 runs, and it's considered a quality start. But the infuriating thing is that how they lost. It's not that they lost. It's that if you pinch run for Wilmer, he'll score a run. Whoever the pinch hit, it could have been Bartolo Colon. I know you can't pinch hit him.
Tweet about that.
Yeah, I know you can't pinch hit. I'm just saying hypothetically, if you pinch hit Bartolo for Wilmer, how about a foot race between these guys? By the way, I would love to see that. Anyway, whoever it was, though, there's a bunch of guys that could have been the pinch runner there. They would have scored, and they didn't. And there was just this ugly collision at home plate, and Wilmer is still feeling the after effects. And you're like, poor Wilmer. You know,
Can you
he
imagine
shouldn't
going
have to run that
someone's leg
fast.
like that.
Terry should know he can't run that fast, and that's the problem. Is that Terry didn't pinch run for him? Why? Did you read about why Terry? Go ahead, Melissa.
He was distracted.
Yeah.
Because he was planning the lineup and who
was going to pitch
and what spot to put them in, if it was going to be a double switch or not in the next inning. So it really bothers me. But I really like that he owned up to it, because it would be really easy. And in general, I really appreciate when people admit that they did something wrong.
Well, they hold themselves accountable.
Yes, because blaming it on other people will work once. After that, you're just a jerk. And so I appreciate the fact that Terry,
was honest about it.
Exactly.
And look, he only cost them one game this week, so
Yeah.
you know.
So it was a great week.
There have been other weeks where I feel like, nah, he could have done this, could have done. You know,
Why
the
do you
games
feel
where
like
he
it's
didn't.
always with Flores too?
Yeah,
Like, don't
right.
you feel like that? Like it's always when he's
know.
involved.
I don't know, and you know, Wilmer getting hurt, you're like, oh come on, he's hitting, and there's already the talk that maybe he, you know, at least considering the fact that he maybe could be the everyday second baseman next year. I love Wilmer, so I hope he's feeling better.
How can you not love Wilmer? When someone shows how badly they
When they
love a
cry.
team, yes, but what he said after the walk-off a few days later, I'm going back to 2015, people.
Yeah.
But
it's true.
You just see how much. It's not that he, just wants to play baseball. He wants to play baseball in New York, and he wants to do it in the National League.
Yeah.
He will stay in New York, but it's not going to be for the Yankees, people. Mets
Although
all day, every day.
To be fair, he'd be a good DH. But anyway.
No.
I'm just
Take
saying
it back.
he would. Well, okay, the Mets can DH him when they play
Yes.
against American League teams. Sorry, I didn't mean to upset you.
Thank you.
All right, so, we turn the page on the one bad game of the week. When there's only one bad game of the week, and it's not like they didn't, get their ass kicked. It was like they lost by a run in extra innings. And I don't know. It's just, you know what? You can't dwell on it because the rest of the week was so good.
You want to know something awesome?
What's that?
This week was so good, I didn't even eat any cheese this
No!
week.
You're hilarious.
You didn't eat any
Oh my
cheese?
I mean, to be fair, I did run out and never went to the store to get more.
Oh, well, that's
but
fair.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
I didn't have the cheese eating urge. It wasn't a bad week. I didn't need to eat all the cheese.
You're
Not even
so
yesterday
funny.
you didn't eat any cheese.
No. I didn't have any cheese.
Is there cheese in your house now?
No.
she
All right.
didn't
Hey,
go.
Jay, I know you're watching. I'm going to pick up cheese on the way home.
Oh, I was going to get people hashtag send Melissa cheese.
Send
Oh, yeah,
Melissa
do that
cheese.
too.
Yeah, and
We're
also,
asking for a lot this show.
Also, Mama
Wine,
Llama,
cheese.
please send us wine. Oh, we're going to have a wine and cheese party.
Love
We're
it.
definitely having a wine and cheese party at some point here in the studio.
We should.
Anyway, so let's talk about today's game. And I'll tell you that there's no more passive way to take in a baseball game than listen on the radio when the announcers are the Atlanta Braves announcers.
God.
Because if you have satellite radio in your car, you know that you can only listen to the home team. I could have done it on my phone, but I was in the car with my wife and my son. We spent a wonderful weekend in Coronado, by the way.
Nice.
Great beach weekend
Love
for
it.
Felix. There'll be pictures. Follow me on Twitter at Christian DMZ. Anyway, so plenty of great stuff there. But anyway, so we're driving up, and I looked down, and I'm like, oh, I had no idea the Mets scored a run in the first inning, and then we're driving along, and I was like, oh, is that supposed to hit a grand slam? And just because the tone of how they call the game.
It's so negative for the Mets.
Yeah, it's not even. It's like they're only positive for the Braves, and they only talk about when the Braves are doing well, and the rest of it's just like they're having a conversation. But then they're terrible because it's one guy's Don Sutton, and he's great in his day, but he's not a great broadcaster. They're talking about selfie night at Turner Field.
Is that a
and
thing?
Selfie sticks.
Delete it.
And then it's like, Don, you wouldn't take a selfie. And so they're talking about what selfies are for a long time. And I'm like, so this is a broadcast for people's grandparents.
The only person
Clearly.
that can get away with talking about selfies during a broadcast
Is Gary. Because you
Is-
love him.
Vin Scully.
Oh, I was going to say. All right.
Also Gary.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Hashtag Gare.
Because hashtag Gare can talk about anything he wants to.
Because he is everything.
Okay. That's so funny because I love Ron Darling.
I didn't know
No,
that.
I love him.
Oh, and I love Keith.
Yeah,
Go
that's
figure.
really funny. I was
Guys,
actually gonna say, do
we are
you?
the next generation.
We
Yeah,
are.
it should be.
But I still miss Kevin
There's something
Burkhardt.
about his voice that I
course.
adore.
But I do love Gelbs.
No problem, Gelbs.
He's doing great.
We're still boys. Anyway, so just listening to these guys though, it's like it's maddening, and I'm like, what exactly is happening? and I don't know what's going on in the game. And so I look, and like the score changes, on the little pop-up on the radio as you see it, and you're like, oh, that happened. Oh, the Mets have scored more runs. So I had to go home and like actually watch what had happened and just check it all out. So I'm like, all right, fine. But that's not the way to listen to a game. And there's not going to be any more Mets-Braves games this year, so I don't have to do that. But I've learned my lesson. That's the point. Anyway, that was a long way to say that I wish I hadn't taken in the game that way. But let's talk about another good outing from Seth Lugo. I mean, they scored 10 runs eventually, not all with him on the mound. So it's much easier to pitch that way. But it was a 10-3 game. And again, those 3 Braves runs, all garbage runs. So, it doesn't really matter. That was a whooping. Is, I think, the only way to call it. And let's talk about who did what. As I said, Cespedes, grand slam. James Loney, a double and a home run. Nice. And, of course, Kelly Johnson. And De had RBIs.
And Cabrera had a triple.
And Cabrera.
And
yeah,
behind the plate for the Braves.
Anthony Recker. And I was talking not long ago on this show about whatever happened to Anthony Recker.
I was thinking the same thing.
That's what happened.
As soon as I saw him last night celebrating on field when they, won, blah, 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 that happened. And I was like, wait, how did he get there? And so I was looking, I knew the Mets released him, but I didn't realize he had been picked up by the Indians.
Yeah.
And then the Indians released him and the Braves took him. But
I didn't know
what? I love seeing his face.
Well, he had that great, there was a great viral video of him, like, what was he? He was, like, lifting, like, a couple 100 pounds because he's jacked and he works out a lot. I can't remember the story, but...
I should look for that.
You're like, oh, yeah, he has his shirt off, so you probably want to see it.
Oh, I was intrigued before that, but now I really...
But now you're going to excuse yourself.
I was just going to say I'm leaving.
Stepping out.
But anyway, look, it's a good win. It's great to not end the road trip, but you end... that series in Atlanta. That's the Mets' last game ever at Turner Field. Did you write down the stats?
Lifetime at Turner Field.
Yeah, this is
67
awful.
wins, 106 losses, 13 walk-off losses.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 13 ties. I'm like, how did that happen?
Yes.
No, 13 walk-off losses. I was there for probably 5 of those walk-off losses.
Too many.
My friend John, who's been on the show, he used to live in Atlanta. So that's when I would go visit him. It's like when the Mets are in town, we would go. I saw so many bad Mets-Braves games in Atlanta. As though it's not like it's hard enough to live in LA and watch bad Mets-Dodgers games. I had to travel to Atlanta, the place where they play the worst. And now he lives in Washington, where last year they played well, but in general, I've seen bad games. Anyway, so
I have a fun fact.
Oh, please, I love your facts.
I love your color coordination in this notebook.
Okay, so the Grand Slam today was the Mets' 6th of the year, and they have all come against 3 different teams. 6, 2 against...
Wow.
2 against the Braves.
Yeah.
2 against the Braves.
Okay.
2 against the Giants, and 2 against the Phillies.
Interesting.
That's interesting.
And
the Giants is a surprising part because they don't play them that much.
Yeah, so I was looking, and I was, obviously the most recent one was Kelly Johnson, and I feel like it was like...
her boyfriend.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, it was so recently. So it was 15 days ago. The first 2 of the year were 7 days apart. Then there was, they both in April, then there was August the 18th, 26th, and 27th. There were 3 in...
So they cluster the
9 days. I'm counting.
I like the way you count it with your fingers.
You know what, though? That says a lot to, what we're talking about
when you feel good and when you're in a good rhythm.
The good vibes and everything
I am glad they don't have an off day tomorrow, that they're right at it in Washington, which we'll talk about in a second. Go ahead.
I mentioned earlier that the season home runs, they've already surpassed that. But the total number of home runs in a season, the record was 200 in 2006. Currently, after today's game, they are at 196. So, if they continue at the abnormal pace that they're at, maybe we'll just hit a new record.
Yeah.
That was in 06?
The 200 was in 2006.
And
that's the record.
That was a good year.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So we'll talk about the week ahead in a moment, but I've got some business here. No, believe me, you missed the whole thing. Yeah. We've got some business here. In the history of television, it's never been so funny, so dramatic, or so good. Think about the shows that are on this season. There's House of Cards, Modern Family, Downton Abbey, Game of Thrones. What else?
everything.
I mean,
awesome.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much great television, and really, television's golden age is right now. You can talk about Playhouse 90, and you can talk about The Honeymooners, but when you think about where people are like, I could go out to the movies, or I can watch like 4 episodes of this amazing show. Yeah. People are more than ever before. They're staying at home to watch TV instead of going to the movies. And on Sunday, September 18th, television's greatest night is the biggest live event of the year. You can watch the show that celebrates great television, the Emmy Awards. There's no better night to watch the best of the best face off and see if your favorite shows win. So be there when one of the funniest men on television, Jimmy Kimmel, hosts the Emmys live. I do love Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
Sunday, September 18th, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ABC. I will be watching. This is the first year in the last 5 that I'm not going to the Emmys. But I talked to my wife. I was literally talking to my wife about this on the drive up. We cycled through each network. So we got to go 4 times. We saw an ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox. We saw each of them do it. And NBC... I hope I never get to go to another NBC Emmy Awards because it was a Monday in August because they didn't want it to interfere with the NFL.
Oh, wow.
So that's me.
That's right.
What do you call that? That's a humble brag. Like, I can't believe I had to go to the Emmys on a Monday. But I did. But anyway, I'm excited to watch the Emmys, and Jimmy Kimmel always does. Yes, thank you, Zach.
It's scary.
Yeah.
My friend told me last night she's going. She's like looking at her Rent the Runway dresses.
Oh yeah.
And I was so jealous. I'm like, that's so awesome.
Tonight is the second night of the Creative Arts
Emmys.
And a ton of my coworkers are there because we were nominated. Our company was nominated for 2 different awards.
Yeah.
And so I'm like looking on Facebook, like what everyone's wearing.
I had some friends who went. A friend of mine who works on Conan and a friend of mine who works on Samantha Bee. So great
Very
for them.
cool.
I don't know if they won. Sorry, guys. But great that they got to go. It's all about going to the party. Anyway, so that's exciting. And look, the Mets game will be over by then. Although, to be fair, we're going to be right here when the Emmys start. So you know what that means? The Emmys are going to start while our show starts. That means the Mets are going to win the Emmys.
Yeah.
That's just what happens when we're on at the same. Well, that's my logic from the ESPN game. She's very confused. Anyway, look, great week. Let's look to the week ahead. This is, it's still important. You got to keep the pedal to the metal. There's no easing up now.
No.
We've talked a lot about how the Mets have the easiest schedule the rest of the year. Not just of any of the contenders or any of the contenders now outside on the fringe. So they have an easy schedule. They have 3 more games against teams with a winning record, and that's this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Of course, it's the Washington Nationals. You want to do well in those games. It's not like last year where you kind of had to win them all. But so there's 3 games at the Nationals. The first 2 are 4 o'clock Pacific time, 7 Eastern, and the third one is a 1 p.m. Pacific time. So it's one of those afternoon games. It's Montero Latos on Monday. I know we don't swear a lot in this show, but I know we can. That's a shit show, Montero and Latos, but I'll be watching. And then, of course, my internet's taking a long time when I'm trying to see who Tuesday is. Syndergaard and Cole. What you need to know about Cole is it's not Garrett Cole from the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's a different guy named Cole. He's 1-2 with a 4.56. And again, this is your last chance to brush back Daniel Murphy when he's in the box, I'm just saying.
Right.
Anyway, and then Wednesday, it says TBD for the Nats, so it may or may not be Scherzer. I think if the Mets were to win those first 2 games, then they'll probably be like, all right, fine, we're going to go ahead with that. Gesellman's going to pitch on Wednesday. All right, great. So,
and with the 7 line there, I'm feeling pretty confident.
Yeah, I think that'll be great. And so, look, those are matchups. Strasburg is hurt, so he's not there. And those are really the pitchers that you have to look out for with the Nationals, or especially Scherzer and Strasburg. So they're not seeing either of them. Very easily could win 2 of those games. Why not go ahead and win all 3? Just saying, guys. But if they don't, then they go home with another off day on Thursday. That'll be a good time to take a break, no matter how they do in that series. Catch your breath. And then you have 3 games against, the Minnesota Twins, one of the worst teams in baseball. And, American League team has to play National League. They kind of get a little bit thrown out of the rhythm. They don't get their DH. Melissa, those 6 games.
6?
You calling for another sweep?
Yeah, obviously.
You just call for a sweep every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But obviously that would be great, a 6-game sweep. But I think 2 for 3 in the Nats series,
and then you have to sweep,
and then a sweep, for sure.
So 5 out of 6 is what we're hoping for.
Yeah,
realistically, I think sweeping the Nats in DC with the pitchers that the Mets are kind of trotting out there. It's not necessarily what you're looking to get. But I don't know, Andrea, you feel like, especially the weekend matchup, but you feel like this has the potential to be another good week for the Mets, right?
Yeah, I definitely hope so, and especially coming off of, like you said, with no day off in between. That Monday day off, I think, hurts us. Like, look, we have a Thursday.
A Thursday day off is like, all right,
fine,
good.
because I think in your mind, like, you're like, okay, the weekend's coming. I don't know what it is, but I definitely agree with you. I'm hoping for more. Maybe they have the momentum from this past week and even the week before. So I'm hoping for a better outcome against the Nats, but I would go with what Melissa said.
At this point, obviously, we're in the wild card
Yeah.
race, but we are not out of it in the NL East.
No, because if they sweep the Nats there,
It's
then
definitely a
it's
possibility.
5 games, right?
Yeah.
So the Nats would have to really do another nosedive like they did last year.
And you know what? We can only hope.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Right.
Sorry, Grandma.
You never know.
Is
My
grandma
grandma-
watching, by the way?
Probably. Hi, Graham. For those of you watching, my grandma is a huge Nationals fan and texts me every week to tell
That
me
is
not
hilarious.
to say bad things about her favorite team. Sorry, not sorry.
But there's so many bad things to say
Sorry.
about them.
Exactly.
But anyway, so look, and it's a good point. So the Mets right now have a half-game lead over St. Louis and are a half game behind the
1.5.
Giants.
1.5.
Oh, it's 1.5. You're right, because I was looking before. Yeah, so let's put it this way. San Francisco has a 1.5 game lead as the first wild card. The Mets are the second wild card, have only a half game lead over the Cardinals. Now, last week when we talked about this, Miami and the Pirates were in the mix, and the Mets actually had to jump over them. They went ahead and jumped over them. It was no problem. The Mets didn't even have to have played really well for those teams to really fall behind. The Marlins are a game under 500, and the Pirates are 3 games under 500. So the Mets have to, really do a good job there. However, they, those teams are not really in the mix anymore. So the great thing that I was going to talk about next week is Thursday through Sunday, the Giants are playing the Cardinals in San Francisco.
Oh my gosh.
So those are 4 games. So we can talk about what happens after that. There's part of me that wants them to, split those games. That's probably best for the Mets. But if one of those teams beats up on the other, they have tougher schedules. The Cardinals have to play the Cubs. The Giants have to play the Dodgers, so they can definitely beat each other up and then get their faces beat in. Now, we only have 1 minute, but Melissa, your player of the week?
Granderson, 2 weeks in a row.
Nice.
Andrea?
That was a good one. Can I go with Tebow?
Yeah?
No.
Sure.
Just kidding. I want to go with Tebow, but no. Funny, I was gonna say Granderson. We're always fighting because we don't know, and this week there's a few. I'm gonna go Granderson and Flores just because I feel bad for him.
Flores
So
hits the 348.
He did great. He just couldn't stay on base.
So,
Not
and
his fault.
here's what I have before we go, is my player of the week is Players of the Week. So there's a little bit of a cop-out. My player of the week is the New York Mets, the entire roster. It was a team effort. They played well. Terry, you hurt us a little bit, but that's all right.
Nicely
anyway, we'll see you guys next week, where we'll talk about hopefully another great week. For Melissa, I almost gave her your last name. Melissa Weinstein at Melissa Wine, Andrea Fasano at Andrea Fasano, Christian Bladt at Christian DMZ. We'll see you next time on Mets Wrap 360.
Take care, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.